these are all the parts I got from JM. Tractor's sitting on the side, and in true me fashion, I made a huge mess with the oil. But yeah, I don't really understand what we're looking at here. We got to make this spin, and this is the part that spins. So easy way would probably be one of those long belts. This is for, like, I guess a clutch kind of deal. Hey, chill. And as you could tell, it was kind of hooked up to the pedal, which was originally on the opposite side than it is now, because the idea was to hook up a gas pedal on the right side. This lever won't function anymore the way it should. It's kind of seized up and stuff. It's been a while. So I'll try to grease it up, free it up. That bearing's kind of not good, so I don't know how well that's gonna work. I'm assuming, yeah, this goes down when the pedal's pushed, which would release pressure on the belt, which I assume goes in between here because of that little deal. Oh boy. I really don't know what I'm doing or how I'm gonna do it, but we'll just figure it out. The last tractor video's got an overwhelming response for some reason, so I'm just trying to, let's get it running, because it'll be a nice little addition with all the carts and all the toys and all the stuff we've been playing with at the track. Out of all these parts, I don't think we're gonna use much at all. These pulleys might come in handy. This is actually from a go-kart, just using it for reference, maybe getting some ideas from it. This stuff, I'm pretty sure, is all the mower, like raising the deck, lowering it, stuff. Got these cool little moon hubcaps people talk about, and yeah, a bunch of parts. I don't know what that's from. Looking at this here, I got lots of ideas. Maybe do it like go-kart clutch style or something. Might chop it up actually pretty significantly and change a bit of things and make it like kind of a, I'm just gonna make it fun. I'm gonna try to keep it all super low budget, make parts from other things, spend as little money as possible on it, and just make a fun little toy. I picked up a belt. I've been doing a little work making some pulleys. I made a pulley real easy, real quick out of a wheel, a caster wheel, got it at the hardware store. I bought a belt for the tractor, and we're gonna try to make this work. So this thing, I guess, is gonna work like the clutch. When it's disengaged, no pressure on the belt. When it's engaged, tightens the belt, makes everything function. But it's on the wrong side because the pedal has been flipped. The brake and clutch is now on the left side instead of the right, like your traditional lawnmower. So I'm gonna try to take that apart there and put it, there's another hole up there, or make a new hole for it. And I've got to space it out a little bit to make sure it lines up with this pulley. And I'm gonna make some pulleys in here that are just gonna be basic tensioners or rolling, whatever. But hopefully it works. After that, it'll just be try to start it, test it out, put a battery to it, put some oil back in the engine, see if it starts. And I don't recall if the axle was flipped and turned or if it was just flipped, so it might have one gear forward and 5 gears in reverse. That'll be a whole different thing. For now, I'm just gonna see if I can get it to run, to drive. Here, always. So the technique I used to make these little pulley deals was I just put a bolt through it with a couple nuts on the back to lock the wheel onto the bolt, and then put it into the drill press, make it spin, and take a grinder to it and grind it down as it spins, kind of like you would with a lathe. And then it fits on there. Whoa, super dirty. Should do the trick. What do you think? What I'm essentially gonna do here is take these two pulleys that I made. This one is gonna kind of run the whole, like, stay there, and that's gonna keep the belt tight. And this one I'm gonna set up on an arm so it moves up and down. That's where I'm gonna get my clutch, active, tension, whatever. And let's see how that does. I'm gonna keep it super simple. Probably a little pulley, rope style, hooking up to here to pull it up and down. Just a rod with this welded to the end of it, bolted onto the chassis so it's got a pivot point. You'll see when I set it up. Got to weld one of these to a plate and the other one to a rod. Very simple. Just gonna set it up and do it. Good morning, dudes, and after a long night of figuring things out and talking to the boys, we noticed and figured out and discovered that the transmission on this tractor is in fact put in backwards. It was flipped over but never flipped around. I did in fact make a huge mistake earlier with the whole transmission layout and setup and everything else. So I'm out for a little walk to see if my little $5 squeegee I got from Canac is gonna work to squeegee water off the track, see what kind of shape the track's in. Maybe we can play tomorrow. Well, it's actually pretty good. Well, besides being covered in leaves, the track actually looks pretty decent. Nowhere nearly as wet as I thought it would be. So in the end, I guess there was no use for my $5 squeegee. Camera's over there. Or taking a walk back here to check it out. I think if anything happens tomorrow, if we do a little bit of kart racing or something, should be okay. So I went ahead and I flipped the axle back around. I had to cut out a hole here because it was interfering with this, which is actually the brake. In today's video, I'm gonna try to set that up. Also, last time I got it started, I had to pull a wire and touch it to the ground on the battery to kill it. So I'm hoping that this here, a switch that was there for, I believe that was for the deck to turn it on and stuff. That's hopefully a kill switch now. This is for the lights, they still don't work. I fixed up all the wiring and everything on the key and I locked it in place better, so no more like that dangling around and twisting. It used to be that you would turn the key and then turn it to fire it up and it would actually spin inside the barrel. Real pain in the ass. You had to almost hold it with two hands. This kill switch is still here. Well, it's not a kill switch, but it's like a safety switch for starting it. That's supposed to engage like the pedal and be engaged when the pedal's on, but it's all taken off. So it's just a button and then turn the starter like last time. This is still all opened up because I lost the bolt for the coil, but it does start, it does run. I got to figure out, we're going to test it, see if that switch works, get this brake working, and then, I also installed the shifter. So we'll see if we can go through some gears and stuff while it's sitting there, if I have to use the clutch and everything. And because I moved the belt around again, this clutch setup with the rope, it's not going to quite cut it, but that's okay because when I built it, the idea was it was going to be temporary, so I really don't mind chopping it off and redoing it. And as always, this tractor is like, I'm trying to do this on the way cheap, so it's just a lot of cutting, a lot of grinding, a lot of welding, and then using spare parts or whatever I've got kicking around. Taking the nuts off of this because I want to pull the arm off, have a different setup so that it's I can put a rod across and use hopefully this as a big ass e-brake instead of hooking it onto the pedal, because I don't want to make things more difficult than they already are, or they already have to be. So let's see what we can do with this. Okay, so I just took this off and like it's two little pistons that push in, and then this is supposed to, I guess, tighten it when you pull it. I don't even remember which way it was on, so now things are getting weird. The two little pistons sit in this channel. When it turns, it puts pressure on them. Fairly simple. I'm gonna basically make it really easy, put a bolt through here with something I can put a rod on. Hopefully that solves my brake problem. This should serve as the brake. Just gotta make a rod that can to here. All right, so we got a stopper so it doesn't go too far forward, but that's the brake. We got like a drift style brake on it. It's kind of cool. Weird little setup, but we'll make it work. You gotta put like a spring from here down somewhere just to keep that nice and tight. Maybe put something on the back, who knows, but well, it's bending. Functioning handbrake. Put this big spring on it, just welded a nut straight up. What I'm looking at doing next is gotta cut the wire that I put for the clutch, that rope actually, and redo it so that it'll function the way it sits. Right now it's got way too much slack on it because of the way the belt was set up before. Dudes, the clutch readjusted. Handbrake works. It's a little clunky, but it works. I think everything's good to go. So we're gonna throw a battery in it and see if it'll run and if it'll stop. I know it'll run, but it's gotta stop on this switch. And then it's put a seat on it, put the wheels back on it. It should run, it should drive, it should be complete. switch works. So I still got plenty to do on this tractor. First thing I want to do though is extend the seat, make it a bit wider so that I can actually fit it in. Opportunity. Finish everything off on the inside. First thing is get the coil locked back down in place. I only had it bolted up on one side. Thread the bolt in and then put it down. It's wired up on the other side. Flywheel cover back on it. Now we could put back on the cover. 2 little screws hold that on. And that's pretty much back together. So next I'd like to mount the seat and the fenders. The seat is out in the sun drying because I just fiberglassed it, as you saw. Fenders, well, I don't know if I'm gonna have time. So we gotta make some sort of seat brackets. I wanna put some sort of grab bar on the back of that tractor just so I can pick it up from the back end and get it off that table and move it around real easy. So the ultimate plan here is to get this seat to sit somewhere, make some mounts, some brackets, and also have a bar coming off the back, something like that, where I can pick up the tractor from. I'm just gonna make it up as I go. We got these totally recycled. This was actually a piece from the El Camino, the old rad support. Chunks of metal that I made these ugly, disgusting seat brackets with. Yeah, they did look kind of horrible. Hey, let's go get the seat. Bolt this up. Should be good to hit the ground and maybe test her out. Put these bolts in. Hey. Ooh. Stop making so much noise, please. So bolting them in is pretty easy. And I think tightening them down is going to make it all good and solid. Hopefully the fiberglass is dry enough right now. I don't have to worry about it too much, but if it's not, well, we'll just deal with it. You know, I'll put something on the seat so that it's not getting whoever's riding it all sticky and full of fiberglass. But besides that, so the way it went together, I kind of feel like putting this grab bar on the back actually kind of made the seat not sit properly. That's why it was such a pain in the ass to get it to line up. Still didn't line up yet. I had to pour out a hole a little bit more in the fiberglass. That sucks because I don't want to weaken the fiberglass any more than it already is. But hopefully I'm putting these nice and tight. That should solve a lot of problems. Now the go-kart seats are surprisingly stiff and strong. So I'm hoping this kind of does the same thing. That should do. Tighten up these bottom ones right quick, and then hopefully we're gonna put this thing on the ground, see how it looks, maybe throw a battery in, start it up, see how my dog reacts. She seems to always have an issue with anything with the wheels and the motor that makes noise and moves, but I don't know if she likes it or if she wants to eat it. Either way. Time to see what it does. See if it starts, see if it runs. This is what you call, I guess, the moment. Well, there she is, dudes. Tractor's done and it runs.